Hi everyone, it's Katie from the tech team again, and today this is our last video on learning LinkedIn. I know we've covered a lot so far, but we do have a little bit more to learn. So for the last time, let's dive right in. Let's go to the Home tab and see how all of this works together. So when you click on Home, it might look like a standard social media newsfeed to you. You will see some similarities between different platforms. Over here is today's news and views, kind of some things that have quite a ton of readers that have already been looking at them. You have the ability to start a post up here, and what that means is if you click on Start a Post, first, of course, you can determine what your visibility setting is. Do you want this just to be visible to anyone on or off LinkedIn? Only your connections, anyone, and also Twitter if you wanted to share it to Twitter, or maybe some group members for a particular group. So if I just want connections only, I'll click that, save it, and it's only going to be my connections seeing this, not some random person off of Google that doesn't even have a LinkedIn account. So you would think of something, insightful to say. It doesn't have to be anything overly complex. You can maybe share an experience that you've had, at a work site, and even ask your connections, what would you have done in this situation, or what have you been doing at your company that you feel like has been a big asset? Just kind of getting a conversation going. You can add images, videos, and files here. So again, if you have presented at a conference and you have a photo of you in front of your poster board or something, and you want to share that with your professional network, that would be something you could post about. And then you could hashtag maybe the conference or the industry that you're in. And whenever you want to add a hashtag, you click on Add Hashtag, and then you can type in, maybe it was a library conference. So you type libraries, and then you all of a sudden start getting a lot of other suggestions. So I could say, library conference. And again, I could click on public libraries if I wanted to. I could add all types of hashtags to a post that I'm going to share with just my connections right here. Now, I'm not going to actually post anything. I have not been presenting at any conferences, so I don't have an image to share. So I'm going to close out of this. I'm going to discard it. And then we're going to talk about interacting with other people's posts. Now, right here, you'll see at the very top, it says new post in This Week in Libraries. That is a group that I'm a part of. This is why I'm going to see this. And I'm going to scroll down just a little bit more. And you'll see on the left-hand side, you can see the recent groups and tags I've interacted with. But then right here are all the groups that I'm a part of. And to add yourself to a group, you could just go up here in the search bar. You can click on what you're particularly searching for. If I clicked on groups and then typed in a name, then I would find groups in my industry or just something maybe I'm interested in locally in my state. So that is how you search and join a group. Same thing goes for hashtags. You can follow a hashtag to get posts on your feed that have to do with history, even if you're maybe not friends with the person that shared that post initially. If it's tagged with history, it'll show up on your feed. Now, this person is a second connection. We are not first connections, but I'm still seeing something from them on here. And they posted in This Week in Libraries, and it has to do with, their traveling experiences and conservation. So that's kind of cool. I've already given it a like. And so this is kind of a good example of something that you can share on your LinkedIn account, because it is an article. It has to do with, books and conservation, but it also kind of has a fun little spin on it. So again, if there's something unique that you're doing, feel free to share it with your LinkedIn community. If you scroll down a little bit more, I do want you to know that you will see some ads on LinkedIn. You might have noticed them already, but this is promoted. That is why it is showing up on my feed. I do not follow LinkedIn Learning, although it is a wonderful tool. It's just showing up because it's promoted. I could click on the three dots over here, though, and report this ad that I don't want to see it in my feed. Or I could save it for later. I could improve my feed by getting recommended sources to follow. Maybe I do need to follow LinkedIn Learning, but just know that these three dots will give you some different options. Even on the right-hand side, it kind of suggests, what I should follow. Should I also follow Forbes or TED or entrepreneurship? And if I wanted to follow that, I could just give it a single click, and it immediately replaces it with something else it thinks I should be following. So again, this is how you can keep up with that. There is the see all option underneath your hashtags and groups, or see more. And so if all the things that you follow are not showing up, you can access them that way. But don't forget about my network, where we can look at them too over here on the left hand side and manage that. In addition to interacting with people on your news feed and managing your network over here, you can also message people. Now you will notice that there is a messaging tab right here, as well as a little toolbar right down here for messaging someone. But I am going to show you another way that you can look someone up and then send them a message. Again, messages are going to be private between you and whoever you're messaging. You can have group messages, but this is different than publicly posting a comment on someone's page, because remember, people can determine their audience whenever they're sharing a post or creating a post, so it might only be visible to their connections, it might be visible to everyone, but messaging is private. So I am going to search for a particular person. So if I go into the search bar right here and I start typing their name, you'll see that my first connection here that I started searching for is Stacy. She is a workforce development librarian here. That's who I'm after. So I am going to click on her profile, and it's going to take me right to her LinkedIn page, and I will have the ability to message her. But I'm going to show you just a little bit more what someone else's profile will look like. It will kind of let you know some highlights that you have. You might have some mutual connections. It might have on there where someone else has started a job recently, and you can say congratulations to them. And then their profile might have some different items on it, and this is what I wanted to bring your attention to, is their activity. So things do come up on your news feed where you can interact with them, but maybe it's like, I know this person shared a particular article a couple weeks ago and I'm having a hard time finding it. Well, you can go to their page and you can see their activity as well and know, oh, okay, there's that article that they shared. So if this is something right here, I'm like, oh yeah, that was a really great article. I want to thank Stacy for sharing it, but maybe it's a little bit too late to, go and comment on it. I can go right up here because it's tracked along with me, click on message, and then this will pop up. So I can confirm again it's going to Stacy. I could add another person right here. I'm not going to, but you do have the ability to message more than one person at a time. And so in my message right here, I can add an image. I can even send her a file if I wanted to. You can even, send GIFs to each other or emojis. So it can be a little more informal, but again, it all depends on who you are interacting with. This is a coworker of mine. I could send her one of these, but I am not. I'm just going to say, hi Stacy, thanks for sharing that Workforce Wednesday article. Can't wait to see what else you guys come up with. And then I send that to her. And so it will keep track of your conversations for a period of time. The three dots right here, if I click on them, I do have the option I could delete this conversation entirely, I could archive it, I could mute it if I'm in the middle of something and if she's going to be messaging me back very quickly, I don't want to hear that notification sound, I could mute it, or from this message I could create a group chat and bring somebody else into it. So that is how you message on LinkedIn. Again, this is private, but you still want to act in a professional manner. I do want to show you, if I close out of this right here, I can get right back to it by clicking on messaging over here, and it'll keep kind of a ongoing history of people that I have interacted with. But just like we were talking about on the news feed, you will get a bunch of sponsored ads on here or a LinkedIn offer. They might want you to sign up for premium because there are paid LinkedIn services, but again, you do not have to utilize their premium services to be able to be a LinkedIn member. If someone has deleted their account or you're no longer a connection, which you can do, you can delete your account, it might just show up as LinkedIn member here. So that was someone that I had been a connection with in the past and they have since gone off of LinkedIn. Our conversation is still there, but I'd have to have a good memory to know, oh wait, who was that? So that is a quick overview at messaging. And now we're about to go into our security features. Like any other website you may be a member of, you also want to pay attention to your privacy and security settings on LinkedIn. Of course, whenever you first set up your profile, you do have the ability to customize some things and what's visible to whom. However, it is best practice to go in periodically and make sure that your settings have not changed. This means that maybe LinkedIn updated or they added a new feature and you haven't been able to customize your privacy settings for that. So the way that you can do that is by going into your Me right here, clicking on this drop down arrow, and under Account you can click on Settings and Privacy. It's going to open in another tab. You'll see the Settings tab up here now, and of course you'll be reminded your picture, you're in your settings, and you are the boss of your account, so you can customize it pretty heavily. So we're going to scroll down a little bit. There are 4 main account setting areas that I want to talk about. It has to do with account, privacy, ads, and communications. It defaults to the privacy tab because we are all concerned with our privacy, but again, this is a networking site, so again, we maybe are trying to reach out of our comfort zone with some people, but we don't want everybody to be able to see everything, and that's okay. You have a menu over on the left-hand side. It'll jump to different sections that have to do with everything from how others see your profile and network information down to blocking and hiding. Right here under your profile and network information, I just want to show you just kind of how it works basically. We're not going to show every single category. We'd be here all day. But you can also maybe determine, all right, who can see those connections that popped up on the right hand side of my page? Can everybody see those, or maybe can my connections only see my fellow connections? If I wanted to change that, I'd click on Change, and right now I have a drop down menu. I can determine, can I only see my connections, or is it all right if my connections can see everyone else that I'm connected to? I could change it to only me, and you'll see right there that it instantly saves it for me. I don't have to click a save button at the bottom or anything. So I do want to go back to my connections can see it, and it saves that instantly too. I can close out of this and I could move on to something else. So another popular one that people like to kind of lock down is the last name. Maybe you don't want your last name visible to everyone. I have it to where people can see my full name, but I can absolutely change it by clicking on Change. You can scroll down a little bit and you'll see, all right, I have my full name, or I could just go by KDP. And it explains it a little bit to you. If I do select the last initial only, it would say that anyone who isn't a connection will see your name like this. But if they're connected to you, they can still see your full name. So again, someone could search for you. That clarifies it right here. They could search for you by first and last name if they already knew it. So do keep that in mind. Again, you could jump down here to blocking and hiding. I don't think I have blocked anyone on here, but if I had and I had a change of heart and I no longer wanted to block them, I could click on Change right here. Yep, okay, I'm not blocking anyone. I didn't think so. But this is where you could remove someone that you had blocked. Or maybe more uncommonly, or maybe more commonly, you wanted to change someone you unfollowed. Maybe they used to post all the time and you didn't want to see that anymore and you unfollowed them, but now, you know, maybe you're back into that field, back into that industry, and you want to see what that person has to post all the time. They would be listed right here, and then you'd have the option to follow them back again. So that's a little bit about privacy. Communications is another pretty popular setting that you want to go through. If you click on communications right here, your notifications. Maybe you're the type of person that you want an email every time something happens on your LinkedIn. Or maybe you'd prefer just to kind of get update once a week. Maybe you're not the type that wants to know the moment somebody comments on something that you have shared, or you don't want every job update that has been posted in your field. You can totally determine that. however you're more comfortable with. If I want to change my email settings, maybe I'm getting too many emails from LinkedIn, I'm going to click on this and it's going to open into a different page here. I'm going to scroll down and now you can customize. Okay, maybe my email conversations, maybe recruitment updates, maybe I want to, change my job settings here or my network. This is probably one I'd want to go in and change. LinkedIn does give me updates whenever a friend is celebrating a work anniversary or even if it's their birthday, and I don't really use LinkedIn to say happy birthday to people usually. I usually use my other social medias to do that or send a nice old-fashioned card or text message. So right now, I'm going to scroll up a little bit more so you can see it. Right now I have all of these notifications on. I am getting these notifications, but perhaps I want to change that. Well, I can now change them individually or I could turn them all off. So if I turn them all off, I'm not going to get any network updates through my email. Again, that could be a little extreme. Maybe you want some updates, but just a little less frequency. So I could turn them on again with my toggle. And now we're familiar with this little pencil at this point. I can customize each category. So maybe I get a lot of group invites. I really don't, but if I get a lot of group invites, I can click on the pencil right here. And right now my frequency is set to every time I get invited to an individual group, I'm going to get an email about it. Perhaps I want that off completely, or maybe I just want a weekly update. That way, if I've been invited to 5 groups in a week, I'm not going to get 5 separate emails. I'm just going to get one email at the end of the week. That would clear up my inbox a little bit. So I'll switch that to Weekly Digest. And you'll see it is instantly updated right here. I close it out. Same thing with my Groups Daily Digest. Perhaps that's something, this is what has been posted in that group for that day. I just get a daily digest. I could switch it to a weekly digest. I could switch it to individually. Every single new post that shows up in a group, I'm going to get an email about if this is my setting. Again, maybe a weekly digest. I like, maybe just an update for the week, and then I can go back and look at older posts. Again, my preferences aren't going to be the same as yours, and your preferences might change. You might think, okay, weekly, I'm not getting enough interaction that way. Let me go back to individually or maybe a daily roundup. So just know that under your communications, you do have the ability to turn it all off, or you can customize how frequently you receive updates for particular things. I could go back to email right here, go back to communications, and then again, I'm back at that main communications tab, and I could go into each of these. Push, I do want to briefly mention, I don't think we've covered it so far, there is a mobile version of LinkedIn. You can have an app, whether you are an Android user or an Apple user. There is a LinkedIn app if you much prefer that to sitting down in front of the computer. I do think some of the features are a little bit better on the computer, but if you prefer the app version, you can do just about anything that you can do on the computer on the app. So I do want to bring that to your attention, and this is where these push notifications come up, is how you will get notified on your app. We're going to go back to account real quick before we wrap this up. Of course, this is where if you get a new email address that you want to now have affiliated with your LinkedIn account, make sure you go in and change it. You'll see I just have one email address affiliated and one phone number affiliated. Your password, if you ever want to change your password, this is where you'll go here. You can also manage where you're signed in. I have 14 active sessions. I don't like that, so I'm going to click on change. It's going to give me a whole list of where I am signed in. I could click on sign out of all these sessions, but it would also sign me out of this one. I'm not going to do that yet, but once we're done today, I'm going back and doing this. And it can also let me know where I have accessed, and I can sign out individually if I want to. So I could do this as well. I can change the devices that remember my password. I could set up two-step verification. I'm going to jump down one more section before we wrap up, account management. If when you started this video, you already had a LinkedIn account, but it's going to be too much of a hassle to go back and redo it and make changes. You can transfer connections from a duplicate account and then close it by merging. We have helped people with that before. You can temporarily deactivate your account. Maybe you're tired of searching for jobs, you're tired with all this stuff. You can absolutely temporarily deactivate your account, or you can close it completely. So you signed up for LinkedIn, it's not for you, it's totally okay. It's not going to be for everyone. You can close your account if you already have one. There's a couple steps that you'll have to go through. Whenever you're done managing your settings, you can click back to linkedin.com right here, or you can just close out of it right here. I'm going to do that because, again, it saved everything that I did automatically. I don't have to go and click a save button, so I'm going to close out right here. Oh, hey, we got a message back, and this is a good last note to end on, because I do want you to know these are some notifications that I've gotten. I have 4 general notifications and 2 messaging notifications. They're from Stacy. If I kind of click on the active window right here, it minimizes it. I don't know if I showed you that earlier. I think I just closed it. But she said thank you and sent a smiley face. So she appreciated our message. I can close out of it right here. You'll see it over here still, the little smiley face that she sent. I've got a little green circle there that she's active right now. We could message back and forth if we wanted to, but I'm going to leave it at that. And that is LinkedIn with the tech team. Thanks again for joining me. I hope you feel much better about LinkedIn going forward, and I look forward to seeing all of you again soon. Bye!